Hi everybody, good evening. Friday evening, Jean here. First of all, to get it out of the way, I want to thank everybody for being so kind and leaving such nice comments. I've had a rough week, but I'm much better. I was a hot mess. Oh my word. And I put that video on of me. I'm thinking, what was I thinking? I wasn't on drugs or anything. I was just like in pain. So somebody said, oh, that was like not nice to put something so gross in. I'm like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? I was just thinking what I think about my rotten tooth. But that's out of my head. I got a huge, great big hole in my head, in addition to the one I already have. Yeah, I really thank you all for being very, very kind. Oh, just one second. Hold on, hold up. Oh, geez. I wanted to be so professional here. We were working on our flying geese quilt, if you remember. And this is my quilt top that I just finished. And the rest of this video is me constructing from the sashing bits onward. If you remember, we already had constructed the blocks in my part one. But what I hadn't addressed is, which I'm sure most of you know, but if you're beginners, maybe you don't, there are so many ways to make flying geese blocks. And I actually was looking up, I was looking in my books, I was looking online, I was looking at tutorials, and here's just a few of them. There's ones with tons of math. You figure out the blocks, and remember, I'm not a math person, we do know that. There's no waste flying geese blocks. There's lots of waste flying geese blocks. There's staggered blocks. You can do 16 at a time. I go on a YouTube tutorial, and you can do 16 of these at a time. Or in a lot of my quilt books, you do 16 flying geese blocks at a time. You can use special rulers to get them. You can go online and buy special rulers that have flying geese blocks. You can do half square triangles that make up yeah, that would make sense. Make up a flying geese block. You'd have a seam down the middle. That sounds easy. You can use templates for flying geese block. You can do 20 at a time. I don't like 20 at a time. That's amazing. But I would imagine there's lots of marking and stitching and math maybe. You can do 4 at a time. You can do pieced. My point is, there's tons and tons of ways you can make flying geese blocks. This is how we did it, right? This is how I did it. You've learned how to make the block. Oh no, that's not. So you've learned how to make the block. I've put my quilt together, my quilt blocks together, and I have to quilt this now. I don't know how I'm going to quilt it. I did my border down there. I'm quite happy with that. And how I'm going to bind it, I'll probably change my color binding, which I will show you when I get to that white. I'll probably do a lighter binding around the edge and then do a darker on the white. I can piece my binding just to make my borders pop a little bit, because that sort of just goes into the nothingness. But I'll do that when I finally end up. Now, you've seen about 3 quilts that I've made, 2 or 3 quilts that I have yet to quilt. I have to get to quilting my quilts. Quilt tops are easy, and I can knock out a quilt top like that. But it's the quilting. People say, oh, how long does it take you to make a quilt? And I'm like, well, you can make a quilt top in, I can make a quilt top in a few hours or a day. I'm not bragging, so could you. Like, not, a small one. But it's the quilting that takes, I don't do it in days. I go by hours. Like, an easy quilt for me to quilt on my home sewing machine would be like between 10 and 20 hours. 10 and 15 hours. A more complicated quilt might take 25 to 30 hours, 40 hours. And then a large quilt might take, 70 hours. And I sell my quilts. I don't get the money that would pay me hourly, but I do okay. I sell my quilts to pay for my hobby, and it pays for my hobby. I help out my husband that way. So anyway, there's that flying geese block. Maybe you'll make it. So far, I was looking at my tutorials. We've made, or you've made along with me, half square triangles, pinwheel block, an hourglass block, 9 patch, my 10-minute awesome quilt block, which I love, 3 seams. That's my go-to. That's my go-to block. I love that. I love that. And now my flying geese. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. The reason I'm saying this is I was thinking about what my next tutorial was going to be, and I'm going to be working, I'm going to show you how I whip up a quilt for a present or for something to throw in my shop with panels. Remember, I was saying I love panels, pre-printed panels, but you can take a panel and, you know, you put a border around it. It's pretty, but like these blocks that we've learned, that you've learned with me, maybe you could choose one, and I've started one, a panel quilt that I'm going to show you in the next few days. Give you some ideas of how you can make a panel come alive, come a bit more, you know, panels are like $8. Make it come a little bit more you, make it become a personalized quilt, because, you know, 10 million people could have the same panel, but like the way you finish it might make it a little bit of a difference. So anyway, they're the blocks I've done, but also I wanted to address the fact, you're going to be seeing me make this quilt, but I think what I'm saying is worthwhile. Somebody, somebody, when I made my pillowcases before my ridiculous video on how horrible I looked with my tooth, I was doing my pillowcases, my French seam pillowcases, if you saw that. And somebody said, it's so nice to see you're doing mom sewing. And I'm like, oh, I guess I am. I'm making pillowcases. But actually, I don't just make quilts. Like, these are big, huge, full-size quilts. I make stuff like little drawstring bags and pot holders, and I make oven mitts. I do. I make coasters. Like, I make little stuff. I've done a few craft shows, and it's the little stuff that sells, because not everybody has hundreds of dollars at a craft show to buy a quilt, but they might like want it, you know, or even in my shop, like want something small. So I was wondering, maybe since your people are so very kind, maybe put something in the comments section of what you'd like to see me, like a crafty type of thing. I do like making table runners. I think table runners are, which we've made a couple times, I think table runners are really nice presents for people, and it's coming up to the holiday season, or you want to be sewing something, but you're not going to be doing a big huge quilt for, you know, Joe Blogs at the office, like, you know, but you might want to do something else for Sally Blogs at the office, something small, but something that you've made. So I was thinking, if that's mom quilting, then so be it. Like, I know, again, I was looking at all of the tutorials, and I'm not apologizing, I've said this before, I'm not apologizing for myself and who I am and what I do. I have my lovely studio, my lovely sewing room here, but the professionals are so verbose, they speak so lovely and so precise, and so everything is so proper, and I admire that. Why was I saying that? Why was I saying that, Jean? Because I don't do that. But again, I'm not apologizing for that. Because they can explain something so very quickly, and it takes me 10 more sentences to explain it to you. So I was thinking, instead of making huge, great big quilts or do more quilt blocks, which I will do. I will do that. But I was thinking, maybe I'll just do what I do, which is when I come in my sewing room. I just made a little handbag the other day. It's real pretty. Maybe you want to see that. I don't know. Or maybe you just want to see quilting tutorials. I don't know. So just leave me a message, yay or nay. I'm fine with it. I'll do what I want. I mean, with all due respect. I'll see what the ideas are. If you want to leave a message, you can. Anyway, again, I really appreciate your well wishes for me. I've had a heck of a few weeks. I really have. I'm not 100%. I'm still on the antibiotics for my tooth, but I'm so much better. And I miss being in my sewing room. And I'm back. I'm back. I will be back, whether you like it or not. Anyway, this is my flying geese quilt, folks. Have fun. Make it smaller. Make it bigger. So I just went to edit this video, and it's miles too long. So the next, this is just going to be like part 2 of part 3, like my introduction to part 3 of how I finished my quilt. This is only about 10 minutes and that's about it. The next one will be maybe 25 minutes long of how I actually sash and finish this quilt. So I just wanted to wrap it up there for this part. I'll be uploading this onto YouTube, and look, this will be part 2, so look for the next part 3 of me finishing my quilt. It's too long. But I should be doing that soon. So part 2 is now, part 3 is to come. Thank you, folks.